Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Holm to defeat Bueno Silva. And I'm here to talk about the entire event, and I will start with Holm losing to Bueno Silva. Bueno Silva got her biggest victory here, another submission. She is usually the girl that gets it done via armbar, but this is actually her second ninja choke, the first of which she got on the Contender Series on that girl Mayana. And she proved to be dangerous in the second round, even though it was 30 seconds into the second round. This is her second round submission, and that's in consecutive fights that she's gotten those. Very cool for her. No matter how she got it done, it's very cool for her to beat Holm, who's a living legend. And Holly's only lost to the best, only main events, and only girls that fight for the title. Everybody but Ketlin Vieira was a champion or title challenger that beat her. No, I think they're all champions. But here, Bueno Silva is not done climbing. Maybe she'll be a champion one day, but this definitely separates her from a lot of the fighters in the division, because Holm has only been tapped once, and it was the Misha Tate in the 5th round. And she was on her way to winning, in my opinion, Holm. The Misha Tate fight, of course, but this fight as well. I thought Bueno Silva had a small window, round 1, and Holly crowded her against the cage. And I thought that was a great indication for how the fight was going to go. You know, it might not have been the best fight, but I thought Holly was going to be neutralizing her and walking away with a decision. We'd seen it a few times before, but Bueno Silva made shit happen, had that deadly ninja choke, wouldn't just let herself be crowded, and she got the submission victory. Just gigantic win for Bueno Silva. Sky's the limit. She's still one of the most dangerous fighters. Only had a few setbacks, Marina Moroz and Manon Fior. But she's never been put away. She's been shown a lot of grit. Again, this is her second round submission in a row, even though they're both pretty early in the second round, I believe. But still, a second round submission is great for these first round monsters, you know. I want to see Terrence McKinney get a second round finish. But for Holm, this sucks. It was a pivotal loss, I think. You know, she's obviously old and getting older, but she was definitely in the realm of winning this fight, or in the realm of beating any fighter on the planet, and still is. But this has to sting. I think this one's a pivotal loss. I don't know if we're ever going to see Holly reach the heights again. Whereas with a win here, she could have been fighting for a title. So it sucks, but I'm sure she'll be back. I'm not sure, really, but if she does, I know she can beat anybody. But Bueno Silva separates herself from a lot of great fighters here and puts Holm away. Fantastic fucking finish. That brings us to Della Madellena versus Hafez. This was close. This was very close. Could have gone either way. The final bell rang, and I said, all right, I think Jack won the 3rd round for sure, but I don't know about the other two. I mean, Basel, I thought, won round 1, and round 2 was a toss-up. I scored it for Basel, if I'm being honest, but that's because I bet on Basel. He looked really fucking tough, and I don't just mean his chin. I mean his overall durability, because Della Madellena probably hits you harder to the body than anybody, and he was ripping Hafez and hurt him badly multiple times, but Basel was always in it, throwing back a lot, which I thought was the best answer. You know, Jack probably expected him to take a lazy shot, which he did a few times, but in the pocket, he would throw down and scare Jack off a little bit, and it was a great move. He used many times, great tactical move, keeping himself safe and throwing Della Madellena off, and it also made it easier for him to rip him to the mat. Basel was very successful in that regard, getting Jack down multiple times. If he did win round 2, and of course he did win round 1, it's because of the grappling largely. But depends on how you scored the second round, because Jack had a lot of success there. Nevertheless, look, I'm mad that I didn't get the victory on the bet or whatever, but I'm glad Della Madellena won, because I still think he's got an incredible ceiling, and he's still one of the best prospects, and I just wanted him to walk away the victor here, bets aside. But this definitely doesn't raise his stock too much. Hafez arrived, whatever, days ago. We didn't even know his name till a few days ago. And he gave an incredible performance, made this a very, very tight fight. And I think a lot of people expected a lot more from Jack Della Madellena. But sometimes there's just guys that are insanely durable, even if it's only been proven 3 times. He had 3 losses, now 4, and they're all decisions. But that could be his primary trait throughout his whole career. And it just isn't too impressive yet because it has, we haven't seen much from him. But this is a win that might age well for Jack Della Madellena. I hope it does. I hope to see Basel Hafez have a great career. But regardless of what happens here, this was Basel Hafez's moment. There's plenty of other fights that happen like this that I can't think of for some reason, even though I'm the guy who can't stop bringing up old fights. But this was an incredible fucking debut. Kind of like Lando Venata. There you go. But Basel wasn't finished. Basel's stock jumps way, way up there. Way up there. I think a lot of this guy is a fighter. I think a lot of him is an 8-4 fighter now. That is not a pretty record, but this guy is much better than that. And on durability alone, he impressed the fuck out of me. So, great fight. Really tight fight. Could have gone either way. Kind of happy Jack won. But maybe would have been a little happier if Basel won. Again, great fucking fight. Speaking of which, that brings us to Francisco Prado knocking out Ottman Azaitar. Ottman Azaitar did look for a few minutes like he was going to be bullying the kid around. The stronger, the man strength and all that shit. But, man, Prado cracked him with an elbow. A beautiful counter elbow. And that sat him on his ass. And then after that, it was an eventuality. Ottman was fucked up. And like I said, coming into the pre-fight, I had a few doubts about his chin, not just because of Frivola, but he'd been knocked down multiple times in other fights. And it just seemed like it was his only real potential weakness. And it showed itself here. Prado, he's a young kid, very versatile fighter, big, strong, and dangerous striker. And he made him pay, cracked him with that beautiful elbow, and got a very, very big victory. I'm happy to see him get his first victory because I like Prado, and I thought he had a really tough outing against Jamie Malarkey. And I think that was on short notice as well. But here, he looked like a violent son of a bitch, and he took out another violent son of a bitch. Excellent finish. Albert Duraev gets tapped out by Junyoung Park. Junyoung Park, I thought, stole the first round with a guillotine choke, but other than that, I thought he was losing. Albert Duraev was bullying him around a little bit. Duraev looked great on the feet as well. But then that guillotine was really, really tight. I think it sucked some of the life out of Duraev as well. Definitely looked like he was close to tapping a few times there. And it was in for a while. And then in round 2, he was a different fighter. And Junyoung Park started beating him up. Junyoung Park, as the commentators pointed out, his jab was incredible. Really dictated the whole fight overall. And when Junyoung Park got him down, it was pretty much game over. Duraev's a guy that doesn't want you on top of him, and especially when he's hurt and beaten down. And Junyoung Park, very well-rounded fighter. I still don't know if he's better on the feet or on the ground or whatever. He's really good everywhere at the UFC level, and he was too much for Duraev. Got him out of there, I think, deep into the second round. Just an incredible fucking finish. Awesome for the Iron Turtle, I believe his name is. But yeah, I love Junyoung Park. Duraev, this definitely showed some more vulnerabilities here, this fight. And, yeah, tough loss. Norma Dumont beats Chelsea Chandler by decision. This was Norma Dumont's fight from that big punch in the beginning. It's not a knockdown, but it's a knockback, I guess we could call it. She knocked her back, forced her to run into the cage. And that was eye-opening. But Chelsea Chandler was able to gather herself, and she came back strong. And she started pressuring Norma Dumont. And in the end, Norma had to regain control by ripping her to the mat. And I thought Norma looked very good on top, Chelsea Chandler has a good guard, really good guard. I've only seen, whatever she's got, 6 fights now, 7 fights. I think I've seen all of them. But she does have a good guard, even though she wants to be on top. She's got a much better top game. But Norma minded her P's and Q's, and just looked like the veteran who was schooling the newcomer. I thought she looked good on the feet, handling that straight left well from Chelsea Chandler, who's a big, long, tall fighter. Norma moved very well, even though she's got a big ass and doesn't look like she'd move well. And again, won the wrestling battle. Took Chelsea Chandler out of her game anytime she's getting comfortable standing. And yeah, just schooled her from beginning to end. Great win for Norma Dumont. I think it's a win that'll get better with age because I like Chelsea Chandler as a fighter. But for now, it may be a so-so win on paper. And for Chelsea Chandler, yeah, she's still very inexperienced and she's got a lot of holes to patch up clearly. But the fact that she didn't get finished here bodes pretty well for her. And again, not that Norma Dumont's a big finisher. She's got 2 submissions in all of her wins and no TKOs. But she's a very good, well-rounded fighter. And Chelsea was hurt early on. So credit to her for making it the distance. Nazim Sadykhov beat Terrence McKinney. This was like the ultimate Terrence McKinney fight. Terrence McKinney gets the takedown, the body triangle, working him really well in round 1, but not able to get that submission, and that's largely, again, due to Serra Longo, or, Matt Serra there. Nazim was defending, just fighting the hands, kept fighting the hands, and kept himself safe, and then in round 2, he had nothing left. He had nothing left, Terrence McKinney, It sucks. I feel bad saying, oh, this guy's got dog shit cardio or whatever, and, because, he hears this shit from everybody. But he proved it again. Just came out flat in round 2. He's a guy, Terrence McKinney, that is a problem for anybody in 1 round. But after that, everybody is a problem for him. Not to take away from Nazim Sadykhov's victory. But I just did, I guess. But Nazim looked damn good and just mauled him, got him out of there. Once he got him on the ground and trapped that arm, it was pretty cool. Terrence McKinney was just fucked, and then he choked him, which is not what I expected. Sadykhov, I expected him to get the knockout before the submission, of course. And here he shows us something else. And the sub was there for him, and he took it. Great win for him. For Terrence McKinney, I don't know. The upside is so great. When he wins, it's so awesome. Maybe they'll keep him around. But overall, long term, I don't think, he's got the traits to be a UFC fighter. Not for too long anyway. Really shit loss for Terrence McKinney again. And that was after another great first round. Great win for Sadykhov, though. Dudakova and Nunes, look, shit's going to happen. Victoria Dudakova gets the victory, and I thought she was going to get the victory based on how the first 20 seconds looked or whatever, but this just didn't even happen, this fight, as far as I'm concerned. I hope Estela Nunes is okay. Her arm reminded me of Mark Coleman, Shogun Hua, when Mark Coleman took him down at Pride 31. Same type of thing, just landed awkwardly and started screaming. She's fucked up. And I hope she gets better, and I'm sure once she does, she'll be given another shot, but it's probably going to be some time. For Dudakova, it is what it is. I think she really could have shined against Estela Nunes. I think she could have gotten a finish, probably down the stretch, and probably would have. But she's 1-0 in the UFC now, so that's that. She'll be moving on. Melk Baghdasaryan beat Tucker Lutz. This was a very close fight. Very close fight. I thought Tucker Lutz started off pretty well early on. He was faring well in the striking, actually. I mentioned he's a wrestle boxer, and he better be wrestling. Well, he did wrestle, but he also struck, and he did pretty well against Baghdasaryan. But overall, Baghdasaryan was too much. I thought too much of this fight was contested on the feet. Tucker Lutz had a bit of a cardio issue, I think, in the round 3. And it only really showed itself in his wrestling. He just, that was fatiguing him, you could see. And once he abandoned the wrestling in that final minute, Melk Baghdasaryan put a stamp on that fight and had a strong finish and stole the fight, in my opinion. I thought he won the final 2 rounds, and I thought it was still a very close fight. Could have gone either way, probably. But yeah, I had a 29-28 Baghdasaryan. Solid victory for him. And for Tucker Lutz, that sucked. He was very much in the realm of winning that, but he just couldn't put it all together. The fact that he made it the distance bodes well for him, but not too well. And let's see. Melk Costa beat Austin Lingo. Melk Costa was just a step ahead, in my opinion, really mixing it up. I thought he did a lot better at range than Austin Lingo, had much sharper striking. Austin Lingo, he's a guy that I do think at the UFC level will be reduced to a brawler. And he's a damn good brawler, but brawling often isn't good enough. And Melk was much better on the outside. And I thought Austin Lingo looked pretty limited throughout this fight. Melk gets the decision, and hopefully it's a win that gets better with age, but I don't know. I don't know how long for the UFC Austin Lingo is. He might not be sticking around too long. Evan Elder beats Genaro Valdez. This was a great victory for Evan Elder. I thought he won every moment of the fight, really, aside from when he got knocked down or cracked with a big punch anyway. He didn't get that. He was knocked down. He was knocked down with a big punch in round 2. And then there was an eye poke that kind of helped him regain his bearings. Might have helped him out, but it is what it is. And he made round 2 close in the end, in my opinion. I thought he won, to be honest. But overall, Elder, aside from that one big moment, he had the big moments and he had the small moments. And deep into the 3rd round, he was the much sharper striker. And again, he was hurt in round 2, even if there was extra time and whatever the fuck. Just a great, gritty performance from Evan Elder. Showed a lot of skills and a lot of great striking. He was a bigger man, but he was beating up Genaro Valdez and showed to have much more energy down the stretch. And some really disciplined hands. Great fucking win. I'm happy that guy finally got his victory. And for Genaro Valdez, it sucks that he's 0-3 in the UFC because I think he's a good fighter. But like I said in the pre-fight interview, I'd rather see him go 0-3 than Evan Elder. Because I do think a lot of Evan Elder as a fighter. He's had some shit luck in his first 2 losses to Preston Parsons, short notice, moving up in weight. And then the shit loss to Nazim Sadykhov, which I thought he was on his way to winning. But again, Sadykhov looked gritty and got the stoppage in round 3 due to a cut. So, shit luck for him, but now he turned his luck around with a really gritty, exciting performance. Azat Maksum beats Tyson Nam. This was a split decision, I think, but I thought Azat largely got the better of Tyson. Tyson didn't look vulnerable, which I thought he might have. I thought he could have been clipped with some big strikes and looked weak after that last one, with Bueno Silva front kicking him and then choking him out. And Maksum, even though I still like him as a fighter and I still think there's a lot of promise there, this was a closer fight than certainly the odds would have suggested. Close fight. He didn't have too many big moments at all against Tyson Nam, but he had a lot of small moments, much better movement and volume. And overall, I thought he did win the fight. He was winning the striking battle and the grappling battle as well. There were a few moments there. He took his back and made some shit happen. But overall, the fact that it was mostly contested on the feet is what made this close. And Azat, say what you will about the fight, but he passed the test. Like I said, coming into it, he's beaten a lot of good guys outside the UFC, but winning inside the UFC is something different. And Tyson Nam is one of those guys where if he's not compromised physically with a weak chin, more submittable, whatever, he's a great test for Azat Maksum, and Maksum did pass that test. I don't know the scorecards, which round went to whom, but I thought Maksum definitely won in the end, and the decision went the right way. Alex MUNOZ beat Carl Deaton Jr. This was a very close fight. Very, very close fight. I think it was a unanimous decision, but I remember thinking afterwards, this could go either way. MUNOZ did win the big moments. I believe he had a knockdown in each round with that left hand. The left hand I expected to be the story of the fight, but if he didn't have those big moments, I don't think it would have been. I thought Carl Deaton was winning largely these smaller moments. But Alex MUNOZ, he had that left hand for him in each round. Each knockdown got better than the last. The first one, I don't even know if it was a left hand or a collision or a headbutt or whatever, but I'm pretty sure he knocked him down. The second round, he knocked him down with a straight left, sat him on his ass, but it wasn't like he was too hurt. Little momentum involved in that and whatever. But in the third round, he cracked him really, really good. And really poured it on. Not that he was able to secure a 10-8 round, but that was definitely a moment where if you were judging the fight as a whole, that's enough where MUNOZ should have won that fight. So, in the end, I'm glad he did, because he got the better of Carl Deaton Jr., and the judges scored it for him under the 10-point must system. So, great win for Alex MUNOZ. Carl Deaton Jr. still looked pretty damn good, although now he looks a little more vulnerable in the end. But, yeah, I thought it was a spirited performance, and again, could have gone either way. And that brings us to a fight that couldn't have gone either way. That was Eileen Perez tossing around Ashley Evans-Smith in the opener. This was a bad return for Ashley Evans-Smith. She looked so limited. She didn't look like she belonged in there. This looked like a UFC fighter versus some regional fighter. Not to just shit all over Ashley Evans-Smith, but aside from toughness, she didn't show really anything here. And Eileen Perez showed everything. She was incredibly fast, much better at striking, much cleaner strikes. Ashley Evans-Smith was turning around and throwing back fists and whatever. She looked like I would in a cage. But Ashley Evans-Smith, 3-year layoff, now 36 years old. She had a lot of shit going against her. And Eileen Perez did not. She's got a lot of shit going for her. And she just looked like the much better, sharper athlete. The much better functional fighter everywhere. And had a lot of success tossing Ashley Evans-Smith around like a pizza. At the end, I thought that could be a 30-26 or it could be 30-20. She just dominated her. I think, she needed to do a little more damage to secure a few more 10-8 rounds, I guess. But when a fighter does like almost nothing, it's just, it's a shit fest. That really could have been just a much bigger scorecard, in my opinion, based on the fact that Ashley Evans-Smith did nothing. But a great win for Eileen Perez, and for Ashley Evans-Smith, I don't know if we'll see her again. I don't know what her contract looks like, but I don't think she's going to do well, unless she's fighting someone that's really slow and weathered. She's on her way out. This fight proved it, and Eileen Perez, even though she had one fight in the UFC already, she has arrived here. Looked really fucking good. And her ass was hanging out for half the fight, which was pretty cool. And you got to thank Ashley Evans-Smith for that. She was like, this fight sucks. Let me pull up your shorts. How about that, guys? I was like, yeah, fucking awesome. But yeah, that's pretty much the event. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.